So at any rate, thank you all for joining. Happy New Year. I'm really excited to bring this topic today. This is something old and something new. Today we're talking top takeaways and success stories from 2023. So we wanted to kind of revisit some of the the top moments from some of the other more successful office hour sessions that we have had previously. And I also wanted to talk to you about, some of the ways that other agents have used Christie's, have found success with it, so that you have a kind of basis for how this works for others, especially for agents who have been with the affiliation for quite a bit longer. So we're going to talk about some of that as well. So in terms of top takeaways, where I went back through the archives from 2023, I wanted to showcase some of the running themes. I think there were a lot of things that we visited on more than one occasion last year, and things that maybe we want to reframe or talk about in a different way. So you'll see some of that. Some tips that you should follow, especially some that I think resonated with a lot of you and a lot of your colleagues last year. And then some of the aha moments too, some of the things that were a little more kind of outside the box or things that we hadn't really thought of. We're going to talk about some of that as well. And then, of course, affiliate success stories and case studies. So using Christie's successfully in the real world. We'll end with some next steps and with some Q&A at the end. You are all welcome to ask questions at the end or type them in the chat as we go along. Please keep yourselves on mute during the presentation if you can. But then during the end, we can for sure unmute and have kind of an open dialogue at the end. Excuse me. As a reminder, I'm Ann Colvin, Vice President of Affiliate Services for Christie's International Real Estate. I am your main contact here at the Christie's International Real Estate headquarters, and I'm thrilled to be working with you all again in 2024. So with that, let's jump into our top takeaways from our office hour sessions for last year. The first thing I wanted to talk about, which is something I think we can't probably talk enough about, is the talking points. And specifically what this affiliation means to your clients and how to talk to them about it. This is something that I think is super important and should become kind of a part of your script and your pitch. And the more we talk about it and the more comfortable you get, the more this just becomes kind of old hat and natural for you. And that's really what we want. So when it comes to talking about Christie's to your clients, I think a lot of people get nervous. There's a lot to say. They don't know what to focus in on. So there are a couple of points that I think all agents should focus on when they're talking to their luxury clients about the Christie's International Real Estate Affiliation. The first is that when you list with a Christie's International Real Estate agent, the branding that is provided around their home kind of instantaneously identifies that property as a premier luxury home. Christie's is kind of synonymous with luxury. And so I think that that's one of the first things to know and one of the first things to communicate, particularly when you're listing a high-end property or competing for a high-end property. Also, when you list with a Christie's International Real Estate agent, you're not just getting local exposure, but your property will be posted on renowned property sites around the world. Not only on christiesrealestate.com, but we have, of course, all of our partner websites that we syndicate to. So you are able to provide their property with local exposure and also with really kind of exceptional global exposure around the world, just like your competitors can do. And so that's a great thing to keep in mind and a great thing to say when you're talking about what differentiates you from your competition and particularly from other independent companies as well, because this is certainly something that sets you apart. You also have access to a global network of top agents for referrals of any price point, but particularly if you have clients who own multiple homes, who are looking to purchase multiple homes in different markets. This is a great network to be able to harness and a great thing to be able to take advantage of and tell your clients about. They probably have homes in New York or Aspen or LA. And so those are all places where we have some exceptional representation, and we can certainly set them up with agents who can take care of them as well as you can, no matter where their home is located or where they are looking to purchase a home. The other thing to note about listing exposure is that when an agent or when a client lists with you, their home will be advertised in truly the best print publications and digital marketing resources. We have a wonderful media kit full of print advertising options that are available to you to market your properties. And that's available to anything over $1 million that's on the Christie's website. And then last but not least, this is something that's definitely significant and singular to the Christie's International Real Estate affiliation, and that you can streamline their access to the auction house. So if you're dealing with a wealthy homeowner, they probably have a lot of luxury goods in the home as well. And if they're looking to downsize, if they've inherited them from a relative or something, you have the ability to streamline their access to the auction house and help them sell those items, whether it's artwork, jewelry, wine, furniture. There's a number of different categories, and we can help them get those evaluated and potentially sold at the Christie's auction house. And that's a wonderful service that you can provide that's very much singular to you and to what the Christie's affiliation can offer to those clients. So looking at this in a little bit of a different way, this is something that I've started talking about with a lot of agents here in Chicagoland. So in Chicago, we have a very kind of Midwest sensibility. And so even clients who own a $5 million home are often sort of expressing to their agents that they don't feel like a luxury consumer, and the word luxury kind of makes them uncomfortable. And so sometimes the agents here get a little gun shy talking about Christie's because they're afraid that the luxury aspect of it may alienate some of their client base. And so they're afraid to even touch it with that in mind. But I think there's a lot of great ways that you can talk about Christie's and talk about the affiliation without necessarily focusing on luxury. So I wanted to talk to you all about that today, in case you have any of those clients, because I know there's a lot of Midwest and Florida overlap, but you also have clients who, of course, are not working in that $1 million+ space, who don't have homes in that price range quite yet. So the first thing we like to say about Christie's is that we look at luxury as a level of service and not as a price point. So whether you are looking to sell a home that is $300,000 or $3 million, you're still going to be getting the same kind of exceptional service from your Christie's International Real Estate agent, no matter what the price point is. And I think that's a really important thing to think about, and a way to position yourself is that this is not just a price. This is not just about the finishes, but this is really about the entire experience and the services that you provide as an agent. The other thing I would say is lean into the global part of Christie's and not necessarily strictly the luxury part of it. There's so much to the Christie's International Real Estate toolbox that doesn't have to do with luxury, but really has to do with the exceptional exposure that we can help provide to you and to your clients. And that's a lot of great marketing resources and advertising resources, and particularly when you're out there competing against Compass or Sotheby's or Coldwell Banker, all those other big brands who are going to first hone in on the fact that they are internationally or nationally known and they have all these connections, and that you don't because you're a local brokerage. You do because you're a part of Christie's. And so I think that that's a really important thing to be focusing on too. And that has nothing to do with luxury, but has to do everything with the network and the brand recognition. Also, I mentioned referrals earlier in the network, but you have access to a great global network of agents for referrals, no matter the price point or the location. We can always get you connected to the right agent anywhere. That doesn't necessarily have to even be that your clients need it, but maybe they have a child who's looking to purchase their first condo, or maybe they have a parent who's looking to downsize. So there's so many different ways that referrals can work, and at different price points and in different markets too. So always keep that in mind, that if you're working in all different price points, so are the other Christie's affiliates around the country and around the world. And they, again, are going to offer that same wonderful level of service and be able to help your clients and your clients' friends and family in the way that you would want to service them as well. The other thing to keep in mind is that the Christie's brand is really attractive to move up and aspirational future luxury clients. One of my colleagues, Lisa, she says that the first-time home buyer of today is the CEO of tomorrow. And so I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind, because, maybe someone is not purchasing $1 million home today. Maybe they're buying their first, vacation property in the Naples area, and it's a condo, but you don't know 5 years from now, that's going to be somebody who is in fact a luxury client. And so I think it's really important to kind of prime the pipe with that Christie's brand and let them know that you're there to support them and that you're providing them with that level of luxury service so that they always continue to come back to you no matter what price point they're working in. And then the other thing I would mention about content referrals, I mentioned that a minute ago, but even if someone is not buying or selling a home, if it's your neighbor, if it's your friend, if it's your sister, anybody in your sphere, you can help them facilitate a content referral to the auction house. So always keep that in mind, that if there is someone in your sphere who has items of worth, especially if it was, an inheritance or something like that, that's a frequent one that we see. You have the ability to kind of concierge that process to the Christie's auction house. So always keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be a real estate client, but it can really be anybody in your circle that you would like to provide that service to. And that's a great thing that you can provide to them, and a great service you can provide even before someone's ready to buy or sell with you. So we've mentioned the Power Playbook a couple of times, and I just wanted to kind of reiterate that this is a great guide for everybody to reference. And we will share this in a link, and I will show you where to access it in platform as well. But this is essentially like the Bible to all things Christie's. So it's a comprehensive guide that has great talking points in it, in addition to all of the great resources that you can use to prepare to win a listing and also to market a property after the fact as well. So some best practices that we covered at the end of last year that I think are great to revisit again. Use the playbook as your guide for creating pre and post listing checklists. It really does kind of go through every single option that you have when you're going up for competing for a listing, and also all of the great resources you have available to market a property once you've won it too. So go through all of that and take a look at it. And then also the first half of the playbook is talking points, information about the network, about how we compare to different brands. And so I think that's a really important piece to visit to perfect your pitch as well. So take a look through that first half of it. And that's a really great way to really kind of get comfortable with those talking points about Christie's. And then there's a couple of companion pieces that go along with it as well. And I will link those for you in a follow-up email and also show you in a second where to find those. One is a one-page guide to the Power Playbook, which is essentially just your talking points. So this is an exceptional piece to be visiting if you want to really kind of hone in on what to say about Christie's, because it really tells you what to do before the listing and then exactly what to say when you're meeting with the client. And then also our co-presidents, Kevin and Natalie, put together a video that goes along with it. So if you're more of an audio learner, this is a great thing to visit because they will really talk through those talking points in real time. So if you want to see what it sounds like or hear what it sounds like in a more conversational way, this is a great piece to visit. And all of those things can be found in platform. If you click under resources, Christie's International Real Estate Resources, right at the top of that page, those three boxes that you see there, playbook, talking points, and how-to videos, that's all of the things that I just talked about. So they're right there for you at the top of that page. And again, we'll send them in a follow-up message as well. Okay, winning the listing. This is again what one of my colleagues calls the 3-point listing presentation plan. And these are 3 tools that we've talked about a lot in our previous office hours sessions. But I think we haven't actually talked about the idea of using them in kind of a 3-step sequence. And so this is what we're going to call the 3-point listing presentation plan, and something that I think is a really kind of great guide for you as soon as you set that listing presentation appointment. So step 1, you get off the phone with someone who wants to talk to you about listing their home. The very first thing that we would recommend is request an agent endorsement letter. This is a great piece to help you make a great first impression. It's a beautiful letter, well written, comes from our co-CEOs of Christie's International Real Estate, Mike and Thad. It's no cost, and you can request as many as you want to. So for anything that's at $1 million or above that you're competing for, you should certainly be requesting this. You can see in this picture, this is the print version that's sent out by a USPS from the Chicagoland area. And it's this beautiful kind of origami letter if you all haven't seen it yet. And it comes in this big square. So it's a very kind of special piece, and it's customized for your client. So you'll give us their information and we will send it directly to them. So my best tip for this is that as soon as you have set that appointment and you hang up the phone, go in and request both the print and digital versions of those letters. The email version of the letter will be sent within a business day. So I think that's a great way as kind of an immediate follow-up to your conversation. And then the print version of the letter will be sent USPS. So the timing is questionable, but whether it arrives before your listing presentation or afterward, I think it's still a really great kind of follow-up piece and something that feels special and feels like we are paying really close attention to your client and providing the level of service that you're going to be talking about in your listing presentation. Step 2 is to then send them the digital listing presentation. So once you have sent that agent endorsement letter, you should go in and edit or clone a DLP and send this over to your clients as well. I think the great thing about the DLP is that it's really slick, it's really beautifully done. And I think not only does it showcase Christie's and John R. Wood and all of the great marketing resources, but I think this definitely sort of showcases the technology that you have available to your clients as well. So I think this also is a great way to prime the conversation. So you're giving them sort of a preview of everything that you can offer so that when you sit down with them in person for that actual listing presentation meeting, you can focus on them, on their needs, on their concerns. And it doesn't have to be about you going in with this hard pitch for the very first time, because we've already sort of dripped this on them with the endorsement letter, with the DLP, and now it's kind of a softer, more conversational part once you get there in person. Would also recommend the Christie's International Real Estate brand video. It's super easy to just include that as well. So make sure that you do that and send that DLP ahead of time. I think that's a really wonderful way to get yourself prepared and kind of take a little bit of the pressure off when you get into that presentation, because you've sort of previewed Christie's already. Excuse me. Step 3 is the listing presentation attaché. So this is our beautiful leather kind of showstopper physical piece that you can bring on your listing presentation. This, I think, is just really stunning and something that's very different from what any of your competitors are bringing on a big listing presentation. Super impressive. It includes a beautiful linen hardbound brochure about Christie's. It also has some space for you to put in John R. Wood or personal branded pieces as well. So you can sort of tell this full story about what you, your brokerage, and Christie's International Real Estate bring to the table together. And I think more than anything, it's representative of the level of quality that comes with listing with a Christie's International Real Estate agent. So for sure, keep this in mind. I think this is sort of the final piece of that whole 3-point process of really kind of hammering down on what Christie's means and finishing up that conversation as well. So keep that in mind. These are available in the Brand Boutique for purchase. And, I think it's always great to have 1 or 2 on hand, just in case you have something at the very last minute. Keep that in mind as well. But that is what we're calling the 3-point listing presentation plan. So it's the endorsement letter, the digital listing presentation, and then the physical listing presentation attaché. Next, doubling down on social media. We talked a lot about social media. I think we sort of touched on it in almost every single one of the office hour sessions that we did last year. And so I wanted to kind of sum it up a little bit for you, because I don't think that enough can be said about how important this is to your business. And I think also in a time where we maybe want to be a little bit more conservative about our marketing, where we want to be more specific about our marketing, social media is a great way to do that. I think it's one of the most important brand resources that you have at your fingertips. And I think there's a lot of great ways that you can make it work for you. In particular, when you're growing your business or when you want to kind of expand your audience, I would recommend using your social media to market your listings and promote your open houses, which is probably what you are all using it for already. But you should also be using it to showcase your favorite local attractions, to connect with your audience by showing some of your personality and what you're passionate about, whether it's your family, whether it's travel, whether it's cooking, whatever it is. putting a little bit of yourself in your social media is a really great way to connect with your audience and make them understand that you're not just selling to them, but that there's a person behind that account and someone that they may want to work with because they feel comfortable or connected to you. I also would recommend partnering with local businesses to increase your exposure too. So there's that great option on Instagram now to collaborate with businesses. I've seen a lot of great stuff with some of the agents here in the North Shore of Chicago. There's a team called the Mangle Team, and they, during the holidays, did like 12 days of the North Shore. And every one of those days, they featured one of their favorite businesses or restaurants in the North Shore, which was a really wonderful way to really show that they're connected. It was not real estate content, so it was just kind of fun and interesting. And even I was scrolling through saying, oh, I haven't heard of that coffee shop. I should go over there. So I think there is some stuff that's actually a really great way for you to position yourself as not just an expert in real estate, but as an expert in your marketplace as well, and someone who's connected to their community. Also, I think that social media, of course, is a great place to highlight your connection to Christie's International Real Estate, to the global real estate world, and also as an expert in more than just real estate, but in the kind of luxury space in general. As a reminder, social media does take some time, but it can have a really major impact. So I think it's really important to carve that time out and make sure that you are consistently posting, even if it's not every day. Maybe it's, there's some kind of rhythm that you get into, because this is a super important part of your own personal marketing plan. And I think one of the great benefits of it is that it offers both broad and targeted reach. So it can certainly be cheaper than doing print advertising, and for sure more effective and more targeted as well. So keep all of that in mind. If you're feeling intimidated, we have a lot of great options to help you kind of dip a toe in, but I think it's a really important thing to kind of rip the Band-Aid off in 2024 and focus on it. Oh my. Okay. So at the end of the year, we also talked about some best practices for your business plan. And one of those was incorporating social media into your 2024 plan as well. So a couple of best practices or tips that I think are worth revisiting. First is to keep it simple and consolidate your accounts. So if you are someone who's on the fence about whether or not you should be having a personal Instagram account and a professional account, for the most part, I would recommend that you only have one. I think it's really important that your clients or that your audience be able to see that there is a personality and a person behind that real estate account. And as I mentioned, they don't want to just see homes for sale. They want to see more about you and about your market and all of that as well. So unless you're posting some very inappropriate things on your personal account, I would recommend keeping it easier for yourself and having one account where you share everything. Also, do yourself a favor. It's only the 4th day of the year. Create a content calendar. So if you have not yet, make sure you plan out your posts at a minimum a month at a time. I think is really a good way to start attacking it, and schedule the posts ahead of time when you can to make your life a little bit easier as well. But if you just kind of take a printed calendar and start to write things in, or use the calendar on your phone and give yourself a little reminder about when you want to post things and what the topic would be, this is going to be a huge game changer for you, and a great way to make sure that you don't look at your phone and realize that it's been 3 weeks since you posted something, because that will certainly affect the algorithms and the kind of engagement that you get from your posts if you're not keeping it consistent and frequent. Also, follow the 80-20 rule. This is a great rule to keep in mind when you are creating content or deciding what you're going to post on your social media. Typically, the best way to do this is that 80% of your content provides value. So that's showing your expertise about the market. Maybe you're talking about interest rates. Maybe you're talking about the best time to buy or sell in your market. Maybe you're talking about your favorite restaurant, your favorite place to buy, holiday decor, whatever it is. Anything that's providing value or interesting content, 80%. 20% should be strictly promotional. So that's your open houses, that's new to market, that's just sold. Anything that's strictly promoting your business, keep it to about 20%. There are certainly ways, I think, to get more real estate content into that 80%, and that is things like sharing expertise or tips, because that is, of course, going to present you as an expert and promote you in a way that doesn't feel salesy. So I think keep that in mind, but really try to keep it at this balance. And that's a great way to create more engagement and increase your following. Utilize some of the Christie's resources that we have. We have some great ways to incorporate Christie's into your social media plan. And I have pulled those all together. So I'm going to show those to you in a second. And then I would also recommend giving Christie's content a place on your content calendar as well. So when you're mapping it out, make sure that you say, you know, for every 2 posts or every 3 posts, whatever it is, you're going to post some Christie's content in there as well, because I think that's a great way to make it a part of your digital pitch, in addition to part of the pitch that you're giving in person when you're speaking to your clients as well. Okay, so some ways to engage with Christie's International Real Estate. We have touched on all of these again in different office hours sessions. I'm pulling them all together in one place here. So this slide right here is kind of your cheat sheet for how to engage with Christie's International Real Estate on social media. The first is by using C Social. So if you haven't yet, please go download it. I'll share the boomerang code at the end that you'll need to get the John R. Wood branded content. But this is a convenient app that you can download to your smartphone, Apple or Android. And it has exclusive Christie's content that you can really just kind of click and share. So it's super easy. There's new content being loaded all the time. Some great seasonal content. There's something for really every holiday, every special month, anything that we're observing, all of that's in there. Every new office expansion or new brokerage that we bring to the network, we have an announcement that's posted there too. So you can post that to your social feeds. And also some great content promoting some of the cool sales and events that are happening in the auction house as well. So there's always something there, and it literally takes 30 seconds to share it right from your phone. So you can do it on the go. It's super easy. It's always available to you. Content Hub is the next one. This sort of builds on C Social with some more robust and sophisticated assets that you can share directly to your social media channels from Platform. So Content Hub lives in Platform. And with this one, you have access to all of the same content that you have in C Social, in addition to things like our luxury defined blog posts that have great features and roundups on global properties, market insights, design focused content. So if you wanted to post something that's got a little more meat to it, something that's going to link out to somewhere else, go to Content Hub, because this is where you're going to find some of that that content. This is also where you'll find some specific John R. Wood and Christie's co-branded content as well. Creative Studio. So this one is a newer tool for all of you, and one that I think people typically think of for print options or print marketing, but there's also some great social media templates that are available there as well. So I would definitely recommend visiting Creative Studio to create your own social media posts as well. So there's some very easy to use templates there, great ways for you to promote yourself, promote your listings, promote your market. You can manipulate them in a lot of different ways. And you also have access to some really robust stock image libraries as well. So if you wanted to find images of beaches, images of your own market, all of that is available there. And so you can create some really beautiful stuff, some great campaigns. And we talked about some of that in some of our previous ones, but I think that's definitely worth it too if you want to do something that's a bit more personalized. And if you've been using Canva or anything like that to create social media posts, take a look at Creative Studio, because that's another great option that you have available via Christie's, and you can share right from that app as well. And then lastly, follow and share. This is one of the easiest ways that you can engage with Christie's International Real Estate on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. We're on all of them and posting very regularly. I also included some of the Instagram handles that we've talked about before related to the auction house and some of the auction house's most popular departments too. So if you follow at Christie's Wine or at Christie's Watches, they're posting content very specifically to that category. And that's a super easy way for you to, just click and share it to your stories. And you've then automatically kind of incorporated some really fun, interesting luxury auction house content to your posts or to your feed as well. Okay, and then this is the last item I want to revisit from 2023, because this one I think was probably one of the bigger aha moments that we all had, myself included, and that was repurposing our digital and Facebook ads for brand advertising. So I think a lot of you know that we have this digital and Facebook ad product available. And this is a great way for you to typically advertise properties on all over the internet for folks who have expressed interest in luxury real estate or purchasing real estate. What we haven't ever talked about until recently is that you can also sort of hack this product and use it to market yourself as well. So the great thing about these ads is that they are branded for Christie's, which gives you instant recognition and credibility as a luxury agent. You don't have to have a current listing that you want to market. They will link back to the URL of your choice. So whether that's your agent page on the Christie's International Real Estate website or your own website, you, excuse me, you have some options there. And it also requires you to geo-target a couple of markets as well. So you need to geo-target a minimum of 3. So you can also really zero in on if you want to target locally or to some of your feeder markets. I think that's a great idea, especially at this time of year. Send those ads up to Chicagoland, because that's when we're all thinking about purchasing a second home in Florida. And the pricing is really competitive too. So for the digital advertising, it's $99 or $179, depending on if you want 1 week or 2. And the Facebook campaigns are $179 for 1 week. So let me show you how we're going to do this, because we do have to kind of do a little workaround for this product. When you're in the resource gallery, go to the co-op ad portal. And then once you've logged in, click on create a new ad. It'll take you to this page. And so forget print media when we're talking about this. You either want to click on digital media or the Facebook listing ads. We're going to go with the digital media, but Facebook listing ad process is about exactly the same as this. And that will take you to this page where typically if you were going to do one of these ads in the kind of traditional way, you would have gone to the bottom and selected one of the properties that you have on the Christie's website. But since we're going to be advertising ourselves and not the property, just click continue. Skip selecting a property and go to continue. And it'll take you to this page where typically if you had selected a property, it's going to automatically populate a couple of property photos here for you and the property details, but it's all blank right now because we didn't select anything to feed in. So go over here to image 1 and image 2, and it's going to prompt you to select photos from your own computer library. So this is where you can select photos of yourself, of your logo, of your team. This is a great place to decide how you want to look on your ads. And you do have to select 2. I will show you why in a second, but some of the ad formats do require 2 images or 2 different images. So once we've done that, we're in as Kimberly right now. And we've put in a photo of her and of her team. And this gives you a little preview of what that ad looks like. So where it says property name, I've gone ahead and put in her name. And then for location, which is really just the line that's going to show up underneath her name, instead of saying, Naples, Florida, I said, you're Naples luxury real estate expert. So this is a great place for like a little tagline or something you want to say about yourself, or, call me to talk about buying a second home, whatever it is you want to say, this is a great place for that. And then once you get to the next page, it's going to show you, so you can see actually here where it says Kimberly Alvord, your Naples luxury real estate expert. This is where you're going to set up the cadence and kind of who you're going to target. You can decide when to start the campaign up here. So it could start as early as today. You could start it 3 weeks from now. You have the opportunity here to really determine exactly when you want it to start. And for the digital ads, if it's 1 week or 2. And then here is where you can enter a URL to link back to. So I thought it would be great to link back to Kimberly's page on the Christie's International Real Estate website, because that's going to be, first of all, Christie's branded. It'll also have her bio, and any of her listings on the Christie's site will all be aggregated there as well. However, if you've got a site that you would like to send them to, by all means do that as well. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And then underneath that, you're going to select the markets that you would like to target with this ad as well. So you have to have a minimum of 3. I have been told not to go beyond 8 or 10 because then you really start to dilute who you're targeting with these ads. So I think keeping it at like 3 to 5 is a really good option, but you'll see that it's going to be kind of large swaths. You're not going to get super granular here. So you can't get to like neighborhoods or very small towns. You're going to get kind of more general, larger areas. So this is a great thing to keep in mind as well. And then once you're done, click on view layouts underneath that ad as well. And so this is where you're going to see, depending on what kind of website this ad is showing up on, it's going to have a different format. So the billboard format, this is how it looks there. And then you'll see here, like the half page ad, for instance, is where you'll have the 2 images that show up. So you'll get to go through all of these and see what they all look like so that before you kind of click purchase, you know exactly what you are buying and what it all looks like, because we want you to be happy with your ads. So you can go back and edit it if needed, but otherwise, if you are happy, you're going to go to your shopping cart and purchase it. And so I think this is a great way to, if you want to jump off into 2024 and do some personal advertising, if you, inventory is tight and you don't have any listings right now, this is, I think, a great way to kind of double down on your own personal marketing. And it's very easy to do. And one of the only ways currently that you can do some kind of Christie's branded personal marketing, it's really this and what we have available in Creative Studio. So definitely play around with this. I think it's a really great idea and something that can be done at any time. And of course, if you have a listing to advertise, this is a great option to take advantage of as well. All right, so that was, I think, our kind of trip down memory lane in 2023. Now I want to tell you about some of the ways that other agents and other companies in the network have been utilizing Christie's and our Christie's resources to find success. So the first one is the custom Christie's International Real Estate Magazine. This is another tool that we've talked a lot about, and I'll give you kind of the highlights of it in a second, but I wanted to tell you about Edward Joseph, who has been with Christie's for a very long time. He's actually followed the Christie's affiliation through a couple of different brokerages in the New York metro area. And now he's with our current affiliate there, Christie's International Real Estate Group in New York City. So what Edward does with the magazine is that he uses it as a vehicle to, of course, promote his top listings, which is kind of its original intention, but he uses it as a listing tool as well. So for every big listing presentation that he goes on, he brings a previous version of one of the custom magazines that he's put together. And he makes that part of his pitch and basically says, this is the kind of high touch marketing that I'm going to provide to you when you list with me. And this is one of the properties that I have featured, and I got it on the cover of this magazine. So it's a really great kind of tangible way to say, like, this is what I'm doing for your property because it's that special. So he actually recently competed against a Sotheby's agent and also a Brown Harris Stevens agent in New York and won a multi-million-dollar listing on Fifth Avenue. And this was part of his pitch. So he finds a lot of success in this. And I think that's a great thing to think about and a great way to say, I'm getting you on the cover of this magazine. And it's such an easy tool to take advantage of. And I think also a great way to play into particularly a very high price listing, a very kind of high powered client, to really play into what makes them tick and making them feel special. Here's a little bonus tip. Edward also is a great social media follow. He's super passionate about Christie's, about New York City, about art. But he also uses social media to promote his magazine advertising too. So this man really makes that magazine work for him, and he gets a lot of bang for his buck. But there's actually a video that you can see on his Instagram account where he is kind of going page by page and talking about the new issue of the Christie's magazine. He's showing where he's featuring one of his properties there. So it's a great way to kind of bring it all home. And I would definitely recommend following him if you want to see what it looks like to talk about Christie's on your social media in a very kind of natural way. So as a reminder, again, we've talked a few times about the custom magazine, but these are like the bare bones details if you are interested in the custom magazine option. It's a great way for you to promote yourself and your business and your properties. And with the custom magazine, you get a couple of great opportunities here. It's all of the content that's in our Christie's International Real Estate Magazine, but you can create a custom cover featuring one of your best listings. So you'll see two examples here of a South Carolina and a Chicago property for previous custom magazine options that some of our agents have done. You also have the option to design a two-sided bound-in letter. So essentially, when you open up that magazine, that very first page, front and back, is all about you. It's something that you can customize. We think that one of the best options is to make that first page a letter that you write to your clients. Right now, I think is a great time to do something like that and say, we know the market is uncertain, but I'm here to guide you through this process, whatever it is you want to say. And then the backside is a great place to showcase some of your top listings, some of your significant sales, whatever you want. It's really kind of up to you and the story that you want to tell when you're sharing this magazine with your sphere. With that in mind, you can have the magazine drop shipped to you or direct mailed to your clients as well. You can provide us with a mailing list and we will send it out on your behalf. When you do that direct mail option, there's also kind of a cover wrap that goes on it that has some additional customization on it as well. So that's a nice little perk and something that I think feels really special and personal when it arrives in your client's mailbox. The turnaround time for this is only about 3 or 4 weeks, and you can do it at any time of the year, which is fantastic. So it doesn't have to line up with our magazine publication dates. And it costs about $7 to $10 per copy, depending on if you're doing the direct mail option or the bulk ship option. And the minimum order is 100 copies. So it's actually a very low order commitment. And I think a great thing to keep in mind, especially if you have a big listing to promote, or if you want to do a big kind of personal marketing push, those are two, I think, great reasons to keep this product in mind. Okay, so our next case study, I didn't even know kind of how to narrow this down to one tool or resource. So I'm calling it Embracing the Christie's International Real Estate Brand. And this is Damian Hall. Damian Hall is he's actually with Blackstream International in Greenville and also with Ivyser Jackson Blackstream in Asheville. He's really kind of expanded his business all over the Southeast and has really used Christie's as a vehicle to do that. He joined them in 2017 and kind of made it his personal mission to embrace the brand and all of the resources that we offer and just incorporate them into his everyday business. So he is constantly putting out custom magazines. He uses our bespoke program for his very large listings. He is always posting on social media. So he's another great follow on Instagram. And so he's also using our C Social content and his own content as well. He sends the endorsement letter and really just is also, I would say, a great ambassador for the network as well. And so you'll actually see here that he received an award from us at our conference this year. He was named the Christie's, he got the Gavel of Greatness for being our brand ambassador, because he truly is a great cheerleader for the brand and someone who's an amazing success story. Since he joined Blackstream, he's one of their top brokers now. He also is a member of the Christie's International Real Estate Masters Circle. He also recently won the highest price listing in South Carolina, and he launched his own luxury. He's a busy guy. He launched his own luxury training program called Luxury Level Up. And then Blackstream actually just made him their director of culture and agent relations, because they also recognize what a great kind of steward for their brand and the Christie's brand he is. And so he's really been now instrumental in recruiting for them and helping agents with their marketing plans and all of that, because he has been such a great example of doing this on his own and growing his business really significantly in a very short amount of time. So one of the other things I wanted to show you about Damian is that that top listing, that most expensive listing in South Carolina, that's called Circle Creek Farm, and it's in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and it's $22 million. And he won it by really doing a full court press of everything Christie's. So I wanted to just show you some of the places where he's featuring it and using Christie's to market that property. It's in our luxury living brochure, which is distributed to all of our Christie's auction house locations and also to any Christie's events that we're sponsoring. He did his own custom magazine. So this is what the inbound letter that he put together looked like. So he used it to really be a full-on dedicated property ad for Circle Creek Farm, which is fantastic because you're opening that magazine, which has Circle Creek Farm on the cover, of course. And then the letter is an ad for the property, and it's really that first page that you see. So he did this and had it distributed to his top clients. He also has been frequently hosting events and open houses at this property as well. It's really a magnificent property. So at all of those events, he's also had copies of his custom magazine that he's been distributing as well, which is a great way to double down on that as well. It's a really special listing, and he's done a beautiful job of marketing it. He's also worked with our PR team to get some great placement on it as well. And then he's taken that placement and advertised it on his social media channels as well. So he's definitely one to watch. He's definitely one to emulate. He's wonderful to connect with, and I would definitely recommend giving him a follow as well. I also wanted to share a content referral case study with you as well, because I think that we don't hear a lot of these stories, but this is a really great one from our affiliate called Go to the Beach. They're in the Florida Panhandle. In November of 2020, one of their clients came to them with this BB King electric guitar that they wanted to potentially sell at the auction house. So they sent us the images of it. We submitted it to the auction house as a content referral. They had their musical instruments department review it, and they came back and said that they would like to sell it at the auction house, and they estimated that the value was between $100,000 and $150,000, which is not nothing, especially for a guitar. They ended up selling it in their exception sale in October of 2021, and it actually was a price realized of $625,000. So it ended up fetching a very large amount of money, way more than they had, estimated at its value. And that was all through the Christie's content referral program. So then the agent received a nice little bonus commission for referring that new client to the auction house. And it was a great service that they could provide to that client. And for sure, I think a wonderful success story when it comes to content referrals and how those work. If you need a refresher on the content referrals program, let me just tell you about that real quick. This is really a great part of your unique value proposition and a way that you can help your clients streamline getting their items to the Christie's auction house for sale. So the first place to start here is to reach out to Deb Spar or myself, or both of us. And there are a couple of things that the auction house is going to require in order to do a content referral evaluation. They need high quality images of the items. That includes the backs, especially if it's artwork, the undersides, especially if it's like a sculpture or something, anywhere where there might be markings or signatures or anything that will kind of note the significance or the period or whatever it is of that piece. Basic details on the items. We need to know the brand or artist names, the material or the medium, the dimensions of it. All of those things are very important no matter what kind of item it is. And the provenance. This is something that they are very sort of strict about. So as much information as you can provide on the where, the how, and the when of the item's acquisition. So if it was purchased at auction, if it was inherited from a grandmother, if you purchased it in 1972, they want to know all that information. They want to know where, because that's also very important to them in determining the value of an item as well. And then, of course, if there's any paperwork, insurance documents, receipts that are related to the purchase or any prior appraisals, that's incredibly helpful for them. Then it typically takes about, the name and location of the client and who the owner of the pieces is as well. So we do also want to know if it's someone that's already a Christie's client and where the items are located in the event that they need to be shipped to the auction house or we need to get somebody there to review them in person. That's really important too. So then this process typically takes about 2 weeks. If it's a no, they typically come back pretty quickly and they'll give us some options for other auction houses or other sellers that can help with the sale of those items. And if it's a yes, we'll then bring the client in and connect them with the auction house. They'll talk about things like shipping and storage and timing and all of that. And if and when the item sells at auction and you've introduced that client to Christie's, then there's, of course, a commission associated for you off of the final hammer price of that item. The last case study I want to share with you is a little bit different. It's about the listing presentation attaché, and it wasn't necessarily used to win a listing, but this was a testimonial that was provided to us by Casey Rutherford. She's a top agent at Ansley Real Estate in Atlanta, and her friend reached out to her and said that she was being forced to relocate for work and she needed to sell her home in Atlanta. And with that in mind, she, of course, had to interview a minimum of 2 agents to decide who was going to represent the sale of her home. So, of course, she interviewed Casey, who was one of her friends. But then she also interviewed a Christie's International Real Estate Ansley agent as well. At the time, Casey was not with Ansley. She was with another brokerage. And the friend did end up listing with Casey, but she called her after the fact and said, you know, you should really think about working with Christie's because they brought this listing presentation and they just really wowed me with everything that they brought and it was beautiful. And she was so impressed that she actually called her friend and said, I think you should consider working for this brokerage, which I don't think often happens, but was a really interesting thing that it was that listing presentation that really pushed her over the edge because she just thought it was so beautiful and so impressive and she felt really special. And so sure enough, Casey called Ansley and ended up joining the brokerage. She's now part of their top agent team and is ranked among the top 5% of Atlanta realtors as well. She's also a super dedicated user of the listing presentation as well. I have a great video of her telling the story in her own words, and I can share a link to that as well, because I think it is really fun to hear her tell the story. And she's great, another great follow on Instagram. But I think also just really powerful to hear that it was this friend who was the client on the other side who said, listen, I love you and you're my friend and I'm going to let you sell my house. However, you need to think about joining this brokerage because the marketing that they have is so impressive that I think you need to add this to your business. So with that, let's talk about some of our homework, our next steps. First thing is read that power playbook, watch the companion video that goes with it, and practice your pitch until you are comfortable making Christie's a part of your natural script. The more you talk about it, the more uncomfortable you feel kind of working it in, the more comfortable you will feel when you're on the spot and you have to make this a part of a pitch that really matters in real life. Request an endorsement letter for every million+ listing opportunity that you have as soon as you set the appointment. I just think it's so important. It's such an easy step. It's free. It takes like 20 seconds to do it. And it's just a really wonderful way to introduce Christie's, make a client feel special, and provide that extra layer of endorsement in a very sort of easy way to do it. Download CSocial to your phone. I think I've put this in a lot of next steps, but I can't recommend it enough. Download it in the App Store or in the Google Play. This is the John R. Wood Boomerang code. This is the code that you will need to access any of the co-branded items that are available in CSocial. So take that number down if you have not downloaded CSocial. Make that a part of your 2024 plan. Follow our accounts on Instagram. Also, I would say bonus points if you follow the agents that I just highlighted too. I think those are great ways, really easy kind of low-hanging fruit that you can do to get more engaged with Christie's, to see what's going on, and click a share, and it's super easy to share some great Christie's content to your own feed. And this is a really easy way to connect with other top Christie's agents in our network as well. Be on the lookout for content referral opportunities with everyone in your sphere, not just clients. So this is like when you're at a cocktail party and you hear someone talking about, oh, I have all of my mom's stuff and I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I feel like that is a conversation a lot of people are having, and they don't know where to begin with a lot of these things. I talked to an agent from Michigan yesterday who said she has this client with a house full of mid-century modern furniture. He's trying to sell it himself on First Dibs, but the only calls that he keeps getting are from people who want to know how much he's selling it for because they have a similar item. And so he's not getting great traction from it. So if you could help someone like that sell their items at the Christie's auction house, or at least provide them then with an alternative of someone who could really guide them through and concierge the process, that's a huge service that you can provide to someone, whether they're your client or not. Launch one of those digital or Facebook branding campaigns. This is something that anybody can do. It doesn't require a listing. It's quick, it's easy. It's a great way to kind of jumpstart your marketing for 2024. So I highly recommend you think about doing our little digital marketing hack there. And then join us for our next training. We have some great new topics on the horizon. We're going to refresh some of our old topics. And then, of course, we're going to be rolling out more technology over the course of this year as well. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for revisiting some of the great tools that we offer. And then, of course, launching some amazing new ones for you all as well.